to win. But again, they always bring the substantiality test as an excuse, and they always overlook the facts to decide what they want to decide. Friends, lawyers should have the moral courage to call it exactly what it is: judicial cowardice, dressed as legal doctrine. Ladies and gentlemen, that judicial cowardice is what has failed our democracy, and it has kept our country moving in circles. The ignorance in Uganda, electoral malpractice happens throughout the entire electoral process, from pre-electoral times to post-electoral times. I mean, you see abductions, you see torture of opponents, you see gerrymandering, you see internet blackouts, you see military deployments, you see open briberies, etc., etc. You don't just see the ballot stuffing and rigging on the day of the election. It happens long before, it happens during, and it happens long after. But the courts of law have always closed their eyes to that. If we had the rule of law in Uganda, what is named, then this was supposed to shape the entire legitimacy of the entire electoral process, but it does not. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court judges always choose to favor the regime just because they feel safe doing that than upholding the rule of law. So, dear land friends, I think it is high time that lawyers stop acting like they are safe in this burning house called Uganda. Friends, you are not safe. In a burning house, in a sinking boat, nobody is safe. So don't even lie to yourself. We are here, but I look around and see that all of you lawyers are just as vulnerable as the ghetto people where I come from. Right before me, Councilman Mujio was there, was abducted and kept incommunicado for almost a week. He is a lawyer. That alone is supposed to speak to all of us, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Chidiyako was a lawyer, but when he walked into a regular community, he was suspected of being a thief, and he was beaten to death. Ivan Bakesiga was a successful lawyer in his own right. But when illness came, he was as vulnerable as anybody else. He tried to fundraise, but eventually he died. All of us, I mean, who does not remember Bob Kasango? Yes, he was controversial, but he was a very good lawyer. And he was a very wealthy man by any standards. But he died in prison, denied bail, and by extension denied the medical attention that he so badly needed. He passed away. Now, I want all of you present here today and those watching us online to ask yourself that if Mujio, a renowned lawyer, if Bob Kasango, if Ivan, if Peter, if they're not safe, why do you think you are safe? Why do you think you're any different? Now, please remember that no one is safe in a lawless society. Not even you, the lawyers. You may have degrees, you may have titles, you may be successful, you may be well known. But when this regime crashes constitutionalism completely, you are the next that they're going to come for. I promise you that. If Uganda collapses, as we all see, it surely will. If we don't do what we must do, every one of us is going to be as vulnerable. If the country burns, it will burn you as hot as it burns a border rider in Chifumbira or in Chewando or in Kamucha. You're not going to be any different. So, my dear land friends, my humble request is that you join the rest of the citizens in saving this country. You lawyers of all citizens, let's understand the problem of Uganda. And by that, you can be part of the solution if you choose to be. And that way, we shall all be safe. Because like we continuously say, all of us will be safe, or no one will be safe. I want you to remember, ladies and gentlemen, that history is calling. Different generations of lawyers in Uganda are always risen to the occasion whenever history has called. We all remember that it was lawyers, including the now gone Justice Kanyamba. It was lawyers that were the driving force in the Motion Conference, which culminated into the liberation of Uganda from the Amin dictatorship. And yes, it was lawyers like Council Sam Mujuma, who was once president of this very society, the Uganda Law Society, that rose to the occasion, closed his chambers, folded his sleeves, and joined the rest of the citizens in the 80s to try and liberate this country and return the rule of law that he so dearly believed in. He did not sit in his chambers when history was calling for his involvement. He got involved, and you too can get involved. I want you to know, friends, that while you're young, while you might look at yourself as unready, please be reminded that we are the Kanyamahambas of this generation. We are the Samujuas of this generation. Do not doubt your abilities. There's no other important time to take action than now. Allow me to also remind you, dear land friends, that this right here is the most consequential time in history of Uganda. This right here is the most effective time for you to get involved. This is the most interesting time to be alive and to be mature and to be in this room. This time, the second best, no, the best was yesterday, the second best is now. But let's consider it as the best and then do what we must do. I'll also borrow some words from the great author called Franz Fanon. He said, every generation must discover its mission and then decide to either pursue and fulfill that mission or betray it. I have no doubt that you lawyers here have already discovered the mission, and the world is looking at you to watch you either pursue that mission and fulfill it or betray that mission for convenience. The ball is right in your hands. Friends, you are the hope of this generation. You are the lawyers of this generation. When history is being written, your name will be among the lawyers that were present in 2025 when everything is going south. So we are already having the responsibility and the burden on our shoulders. I want to tell you, friends, that it is not enough for you lawyers to protect your contracts. It is not enough for you to represent banks and big businesses while you're ignoring the political prisoners. Some lawyers say they are neutral, they say the law is not political, but the law has always been political. I mean, it is political when Bobia is taken to prison for putting on bread. It is political when Justice Chisache runs to exile just because she ruled against the regime. So lawyers must pick a side because justice in itself is political. And in a time of injustice, neutrality is complicity. In this time, lawyers must pick a side, either the side of the law or the side of lawlessness. You cannot stay in the middle. I want to pause and I want to request most of you, in fact all of us, to pause and imagine this. The Attorney General, the chambers of the Attorney General of this country, a man who brought the UPDF Act amendment of 2025 to drag civilians back into military tribunals. His chambers share a wall with these very headquarters of Ugandan society. Please pause and think about that. I'll say that again. The private chambers of the Attorney General, of the Attorney General, the man who presented the UPF Amendment Act of 2025 to drag civilians back to military courts. These chambers are sharing a wall with the Ugandan Law Society office where we are now. And his partner in those chambers is not just any other lawyer. He is the son-in-law of General Seven, the man at the end, standing just meters away from us. Just pause and imagine that for a second. The politics is in the law, and the law is in the politics. They are both mixed and mingled. And yet some lawyers say they are neutral. They say the law is not political. And meanwhile, the president of the Ugandan Law Society, Council Isaac Semakande, is in exile, largely because of his opinions. Now that is supposed to tell you everything that you need to know about the system. That even the society that is meant to defend lawyers cannot defend itself. And by the way, friends, don't get me wrong. I don't want to come off as if I'm pretending not to understand where we are. I know we're not living in France. I know we're living in Uganda under General Seven. So, I understand. Don't get me wrong. I understand the complexities of legal practice and the dictatorship. I know that every lawyer here knows about the fate of the former Chief Justice of Uganda, Ben Chiwanuka. I know that all lawyers in Uganda know that he was picked from his chambers and he has never been seen again up to the present day. So I can imagine the fear in the activist lawyers as they go about their work under this dictatorship. But again, friends, we must face it, because we cannot just resign to fate as if there's nothing that we can do about it. There's definitely something that we can do about it. If anything, it calls for us to be even more bold and more determined and face it with even more courage. Because if lawyers don't speak up, then who will speak up against lawlessness? I recognize among you many noble lawyers that have not shied away whenever justice has called them. I want to thank you. I salute the legal team of the National Unity Platform for rising to the occasion and putting their fear aside to defend our members and our supporters and our fellow citizens against oppression and injustice. I salute the relentless work of lawyers like Counsel Aaron Chiza. I salute Counsel Ladarius Wakafuzi. I salute Counsel George Musisi and many other lawyers whose practice has become synonymous with activism despite the risks. You guys are not just lawyers, you're perfect. And I want you to know that the whole thing in the hand is that. Thank you very much. We all are strong and continue to be strong because of your example. I will also thank some of our brothers in the legal fraternity, people like Counsel Manizi. Thank you for always being a problem. Because you always challenge us to be the better versions of ourselves. I'm glad that none of your challenges has gotten me off guard, and I hope none will get me off guard. We are not your friends. I mean, we are not your enemies, our brothers. We are colleagues trying to make Uganda better. And indeed, we must always keep each other in check and be open to be checked. because that's the best way we are going to be servant leaders. Brothers and sisters, today I want to dedicate this my presentation to the late Anthony Wamegi, a lawyer whose commitment to defending victims of political persecution will remain imprinted in the memory of our struggle. Thank you very much. May his memory live in us forever. And to you now, the lawyers, the students of justice, and the citizens of Uganda, I say this: please look back at the different generations of lawyers throughout Uganda's constitutional and political history, and please reflect on what they did when the nation was losing its way. Then pause a little and ask yourself, will your future self look back with pride to your present self? Will your future self be proud of the decisions and the position and the stand that you took today? That's a question that you don't have to answer right now, but I hope it's a question that will keep lingering in your mind. My brothers and sisters, it is a moral challenge to all of us lawyers. It is a moral challenge because if the law speaks, then lawyers must be the voice through which that law speaks. We must be the conscience that refuses to go numb. We must be the dream that refuses to die. We must be the truth that refuses to hide behind neutrality and technicality. Uganda is not short of lawyers. You are many, we are many. But Uganda is short of courageous lawyers. Lawyers who refuse to sell their values for convenience and for comfort. Lawyers who understand that justice is not a job description. Justice is a calling. If the law is being used as a weapon against the people, then let the lawyers be the shield. If the Constitution is under attack, let the lawyers be the defenders of the Constitution. As a lawyer, you should be found standing at all times. You should be found standing morally in the courtroom. You should be found standing in the streets. You should be found standing in history. And if your children and grandchildren are to ask one day, your answer should be that when the time came, I stood on the right side of history. Whether or not that will be your answer to your grandchildren is for you now to decide. I thank you very much, friends, for listening to me, and God bless you.
All right, another round of applause for the President. Thank you so much, Mr. President, for those thought-provoking statements, your wisdom shared, your personal experience. We have a lot of stories about you. We are so honored that you're able to come and share with us. We have a lot of respect for you. I come from Arua. I was one of the people who was in Arua at that time. It wasn't a very nice experience, but your bravery has brought us this far. We thank you so much, and we continue to pray that the Lord bless you in all your endeavors. We're very sure of you. You're just one of us. We love you, and we're not going to stop until the time comes when the Lord answers the prayer. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, those physically present and those online, we're very honored to have you with us, and this is the Radical New Bar at the best thing that it does. Our tenets: democratization, decolonization, digital transformation, and demilitarization is what we are doing today, and we have had very beautiful statements from the President, a lot of take-homes that we are going to use into the next agenda item, which is question and answer. Mr. President, we thank you that you're able to be here with us. We'd like to delve into question and answer. We know there are questions in the house, there are also questions online. We'd like to take a few minutes to go into that session, and we have a microphone over here moving around with Samantha. Are you in? Ladies and gentlemen, time for questions of what has just been shared by the President. Please. Do we have? Okay. We've got one question here, Mr. President, from one Gerald Odom. He is asking, Honorable, we need you as a member of the Ugandan Society Radical New Bar. What are you doing? When are you doing the bar course and becoming a member? Mr. President, these are not our questions. We are picking questions from the general public and some from members. I would request that you receive them with grace, like you've always done, and feel free to answer them. We shall also, through you, allow you to maybe pass the questions that you think can be answered by your panel, so as to engage the public. And ladies and gentlemen, you're also allowed to ask the panel available. We are all distinguished, interestingly, lawyers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's clap for the panel today. It's a full lawyer panel. Thank you. That's the Radical New Bar. Thank you. The other question is from one Gorechi Nambi. Gorechi says, thank you, our President, for your courage and bravery. My question is about overstay in power. Sometimes members of the opposition fault the incumbent president for overstay in power. However, there have also been MPs of their regions for too long and are not giving young people the chance to serve. What is your opinion on that? And given that you've been the NUP president for 2 terms, will you be willing to step down in future? I hope that was succinct. Is it sufficient, Mr. President? Thank you. We have Mr. Shafiq Were. Thank you so much for the questions. Many Ugandans have lost hope in Ugandan politics. Majority don't even go to vote. What is your message to us who don't have hope and do not plan on voting in 2026? Mr. President, shall allow you the grace to answer those 3 as the others are flowing, and the public physically present is also going to take time to ask a few questions. Thank you. You can actually take the microphone. Is that okay?
My check 1, 2. That's right.
Respect.
Yeah. Thank you very much. These are rather interesting questions. When are you joining the bar? When am I going for the bar course? Friends, I'm a problem person. Embarrassing, but because of my circumstances, it's actually interesting to mention that while others study the law degree for 4 years, I studied it for 7 years. Because for 7 years, and in 2 universities, because of the political situation that you see in Uganda, in and out of the classroom, in and out of prison. And the situation has not changed. I'm thankful that I was able to accomplish this, and it's my desire to become a real lawyer, because I know that a lawyer that has not done the bar course is like the horse with a broken back. So I am aware there is something missing. However, there's more important work that we are doing. Guys, we are removing a dictator. And when that is done, when time allows, I definitely go back, and I'll be very proud to join the bar then. About overstaying power. For clarity, I don't believe in overstaying power. General Museveni said it, and I agree with him. There is a problem with Uganda, in particular, and African general, and the leaders that overstaying power. It's not written anywhere that, a leader should stay and stay and stay and stay. If the leader does not inspire other leaders to come and take over from that leader, then that leader has failed. So I don't believe in overstaying power. I know that majority, if not all, leaders say exactly what I'm saying before they get into power. General Museveni was saying exactly what I'm saying, only more eloquent when he was my age. But it's the same person that does not want to be reminded of what he said when he was my age. I know that. So, knowing that, I also know that good leaders are not born out of their own hearts, are born out of the situation. So, it's the reason why we started the People Power Movement, because our power is with the people. And also, it's our desire to inspire as many new and young leaders as possible, so that they are available to replace us. But also, we believe mainly in institutions that outlive human greed and human weaknesses. I don't want to be the all-knowing guy, the big boss, the big daddy, the strong man. That syndrome we must demystify, we must destroy, and we must flush in the dustbins of history. So I believe that leaders should come, and leaders should go and give way to other leaders. You mentioned about MPs that have overstayed in position. Run against them. When I saw that Museveni had overstayed in power, I did not just sit on the periphery to complain. I showed up, cut off my dreads, put on a tie, and I took on the guy and defeated him. And now we want to defeat him again. So don't just think from the periphery. Step up and present yourself. Not just for the sake of challenging the guy that overstayed in power, but present new ideas. Present new options, convince people. Majority of us are young people. So why don't you show up and present your options, and people will believe in you, and we shall move on. And finally, Shafiq said many people are losing hope. And what's the message? Bro, freedom comes to those who fight, not to those who cry or give up. The more you cry, the more your people continue to die, and after the death of your people, you're the next to die. So rise to the occasion and do what you must do. You know, giving up is not an option in this situation. And it even impresses me to listen to a young person giving up. You're giving up on a guy who is 84, and you're giving up. The people that are ruling over us have already gone past their future is behind them. You're in your 20s, your 30s, and you're giving up. Come on, man. There's a lot of time for us to be there. And that time will either be a time of suffering or a time of enjoyment. It depends on what we do now. There's no time of building up. There's no time for building up. Get up, let's fold our sleeves and do what we must do to prepare a country that we shall grow old in, and a country where we shall raise our children. That's my answer to you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. Were has gotten his answer. Bro, we have to fight together. Yeah, respect. We have a question from a gentleman here.
Yes, Mr. President, I'm called Seba. Mr. President, I work with one opinion newspaper. Then I'm going to ask mine in Luganda because we write for Luganda readers. Sebo President, ngakaluka bijali mukakagwa. President yepchineyo bagamba ati wagamba ati n'omwaka tegujja kubeera nga Nakyemalira tonnamujja muyinza naye otulukidde olwaleero nga Nakyemalira akyali entebe mu entebe yo akyagirimu. President gamba bannayuganda n'abavubuka abakkiririzaamu ennyo bukodyo ki bw'ogenda okukozesa okulaba nga Nakyemalira aba mu ntebe yo, oba ogenda kumulinda afe bufu abona amugye mu ntebe.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Chiseka. Mr. President, we would like to request that we have a round of questions because we have been informed that your schedule is already tight. We shall allow a few more questions, not so many. then we can run the schedule faster than now. The president has been with us for a while now. Let's run our questions so fast.
Thank you. My name is Jerry Vandera. I am a journalist with the Monitor. I think this is the best forum for me to raise this question. So, President of NUP and your panel, we have heard from you several times saying you've taken different channels of addressing injustice in Uganda, including going to the South African Court of Justice and at some point the ICC about the injustices here. Well, your party still lingers around looking for about 18 people whose whereabouts have never been seen today, maybe 5 years ago until today. What are the other channels you're doing to bring hope to the families of these 18 people?
Thank you so much.
Because we've always used the justice system. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. We request that you just take those questions. There's one behind, please. Around 2 over there.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Moy Ibrahim, and like you, I have got my law degree in my 40s. You said here that in times of injustice, neutrality is complicity. But it is also true that in history, we have never had a community of only brave men. You have called upon lawyers to take the challenge and lead the struggle for change. What message do you have for those who have vestiges of cowardice?
Thank you. Next question. We're running out of time. Mr. President, I hope that is sufficient. You take enough. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Mr. President, Magom Ivan, aka People's Advocate is my name. Mr. President, with due respect to all questions asked to you because you're the head of state, but I want to be inclined to the theme of today about lawyers. Mr. President, just like you said, it took you 7 years to complete your law degree, but I want to tell you that it may take you 14 years to get your practicing certificate. I want to use this platform to bang the table to inform you to be charged